This happened just yesterday, so it's fresh in my mind. I'm not quite sure what to think of it because it was just so bizarre and unbelievable. I might have just been sleep deprived. Last night, at maybe 11 p.m., I was walking around my block. My town is relatively safe, so I didn't feel in danger. Plus, it was a pretty night. I had been walking for around 5 minutes when a pale woman with blonde hair and a white dress caught my eye from across the street. She was about my height and looked to be around my age too. I didn't actually pay attention to her after I first noticed her. While I circled the block again, she was on the same street, a couple feet in front of me. She was standing on the curb staring at the cars passing. It was a main road, so even that late, people were still driving on it. I said hello to her, and she turned her gaze to me. I couldn't see her face super well, but from what I think I saw, she had no pupils or color in her eyes. After a while, I asked her if she was okay. She didn't respond again and simply pointed at the road. I was really confused and didn't understand. Right as a red car started coming towards us, she stepped into the road. The car slammed into her, and it was a bloody mess. The driver immediately stopped, then jumped out. It was a man in his mid-20s. We both spoke about it, freaking out. He called the police, and I went around the car to see the state of the girl. Once I circled around the car, she was gone. Not gone as in dead. Gone as in she just wasn't there. The blood on the road was gone too, but not gone from his car. After the police arrived, they concluded that it was some big hoax of a kid who didn't know what they were talking about and some guy who just went along with it. The blood on the truck was brought to investigation, only to be found out as paint. Nothing else was put up about it. I'm still not sure if what happened was real. It felt so real, but I don't believe in the paranormal. I don't know what it was, if it was just a dream, or if it was real. I remember it like it was real. I feel like I can't leave the house now. I don't understand anything now, and I kind of feel like I'm going crazy. I've had a lot of weird, unusual, or just downright creepy instances happen in my everyday life for as long as I can remember. It's not just me either. Several members of my family have shared some scary stories with one another down the years. What I'm about to tell you is a completely unexplained mystery that happened to my dad in 1980 when he was only 18, and it involves a night out with his best friend and their girlfriends at the time, whose relationships didn't last long. It may not seem relevant, but the events in this story are one of the reasons for that. My dad grew up in Manchester, England, in the 1970s. As my dad was looking for work and balancing university, he had a night out every Friday and Saturday night, usually with his friend, who I'll call Wayne for privacy reasons. Despite my dad's thirst for alcohol, he never used drugs or smoked weed even though his friends did. Wayne, my dad, and their girlfriends at the time arrived at the nightclub in Manchester, England, one Friday night. None of the four were intoxicated yet, so the eagerness to get hammered kicked in. My dad bought the round of drinks, but before he could take a sip, he was bursting to use the bathroom. So, he handed over the drinks to his friend and girlfriend while he went to the bathroom. The club was not busy yet, as it was only 11 p.m., so the line for the toilet was very small. Security guards kept an eye on drug users and people falling asleep, or being simply too drunk or wanting to fight in the bathroom. My dad did his business within a couple minutes, and after washing his hands, opened the door back to the dance floor. The last song of the night was playing. This song played every night the club was open, to signal it was the last call. My dad couldn't piece together what was going on. How could the last song of the night be playing? He asked the bartender for the time, and the bartender's watch was 5 minutes to 2 a.m. Stunned, my dad couldn't understand how a bathroom break for a couple minutes went over 4 hours. He was slapped hard in the face by his girlfriend, accusing him of leaving the club to be with another girl. Even my dad's friend Wayne had a smirk on his face, eagerly waiting to hear who the girl was. My dad was not amused, and he was extremely angry, not understanding what was going on. Was the whole club playing a joke on him? Did he fall asleep in the club? Wait, the security would have thrown him out if he was asleep. He couldn't process what was going on. He went home and took 3 shots of vodka, trying to calm down. To this day, my dad cannot figure out what happened that night. And 39 years later, he still swears to this day he was sober that night at the club. Months after that night, he met my mom in the same nightclub, his first time back. Questions will surround the night at the club seemingly forever. Was my dad abducted by aliens? Was he thrown into another dimension? Or did someone drug him and then bring him back to the club? We'll probably never ever know what really happened. But if something did, I'm glad my dad doesn't remember it. I guess I'll start with a background. I'm a 33-year-old female, but this story takes place when I was a teenager, living in a suburb of Chicago. The village I lived in was quiet and middle class. We lived a mile from the police station, and the worst crimes we had was murder or robbery once in a blue moon. 99% of the time, boring. Unless you had a car, you were stuck just walking around the park at night with your friends. Anyway, one night, my girlfriends and I decided to go hang out at the park with some guys at 12 a.m. The night was a bit windy and had a full moon. I even got a kiss that night from the boy I liked. There's a deep forest in the park, with a stream with a playground right next to it. The same playground we went to, with swings and jungle gym columns. There's 2 bridges, one of wood, the one everyone uses, and one bridge made of rocks. That's rarely used because it's deeper in the forest, over the stream connecting the 2 halves of the forest park area. I'll get to the rock bridge in a minute. We hung around the swings, and chatted and just spent the evening together, talking and enjoying the peace and quiet of the moonlight. I have a full view of the forest, and the dip of earth that I know leads to the stream. But I saw something moving over that dip of earth. Some dark shape. It looked like it was crawling out of the forest. An arm. Then another arm. A figure darker than the surrounding forest. And I'm sitting there, frozen. I think I'm seeing things. It just kind of lays there, on the ground, but doesn't move. A flash of fear grips me. What if it comes this way? I look to my friends, and no one notices anything. I look back, and it's gone. Did it go back or somewhere else? I really want to get out of here. Then, one friend asks, "Did you guys hear about the urban legend of the rock bridge over the stream? Apparently, some kids played on that bridge, fell off, and died." What a thing to say after what I just saw. But I didn't ask anyone anything, and just pretended that I didn't see anything. But the experience stuck with me. I never talked about it, because it might have just been my imagination. Things like that only happen in scary movies, right? The black thing. If you are real, I hope we never meet again. Who knows what would have happened if you saw me the same time I saw you.